And we're lucky we got one.
Yeah.
Hey, we got that shit in 2 or 3 over.
I'm telling you.
Hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have to go.
They were not, they didn't even do sketches.
Same color.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I pulled up the old accent before.
Last time I think.
Same thing, shoot.
Up to
So not even a year.
No.
Steve ever got on road?
You see a pole, you see that.
It's definitely like full.
Got something to use wood. Now we got it. We got it. Yeah, well, and of course it's a little pink. We got that there.
Good, how are you?
All righty, if you would remove hats and stand for the pledge, please. Silent the phone, Mr. House. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anybody here from Thrive? Jane, you're here.
Okay, I'm back again,
And our attorney is not present.
and no one has got back with me. So it's been 6 weeks, and I thought someone was going to call me or something, and I haven't heard anything. My question is, I had damage because of the malfunction in my home, so I have drywall that has to be replaced. I have, I'm concerned about mold, because the drywall just slurped up the water, you know, how it goes up. And so that's my concern. I did check with Ronnie Glass, and he said that I have one of those, whatever you were telling me about.
Pump up.
No.
Check valve.
A check, yeah, it's a check valve, he said. So I feel like the whole issue was because of the drain being clogged. And so I feel like somebody's responsible for the damage that occurred. And I know you say you have to ask your attorney. Well, when is the attorney going to be available?
I did speak with him, and traditionally, the town has not compensated. I mean, unfortunately, Kevin can attest to that. I think his situation is a little different because you had the pump in there from a long time ago. Or?
No, I didn't talk to Sam. I talked to Janie about it. Then the check valve that I had put in years ago finally kept within 5 or 6 feet of water in there. But now what happens is if you're going to have a big rain, I've got to go out there and bang that thing around and make sure there's nothing from my end propping it open a little bit, like maybe debris or whatever you want to call it, because otherwise it'll just come right back. As soon as the sewer fills up, it just comes right back in. So I've been, knock on wood, I've not had that problem the last 2 years.
Okay. So I mean, I can check with him again. I think Doug had also talked to you. I think you had the same problem.
I talked to her daughter. She was going to Florida when I was over there. So I talked to Samantha. But if you've already got a check valve in there, then it's.
I mean, I called him today and asked him to make sure. Well, Samantha called him and he was going to check, and I called him today because she's gone. I said, okay, Samantha called you, and he said, well, I'm sure I put one in there, but I'll check your invoice and make sure that. So, you know, I don't understand if we have the drainage, why we are still getting water in our homes.
I think the drain is below.
The way our drain's set up and you have a full basement, it probably comes into the side of our storm box. So anytime it does slow up, it's going to go to the lowest spot. If you have a check valve, then it's malfunctions if you got water, because you shouldn't get water.
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw the pictures or not, but the storm drain's totally covered with water outside. There was nowhere for it to go anywhere, and it took them a whole day to clean it out.
Well, they wasn't on yours. They cleaned 3 or 4 in the neighborhood. why they were over there, so
Wow.
it's just had a jet truck, so.
But I still don't understand why we pay for sewage, or for the storm drain, if the storm drain doesn't work.
Well,
I don't understand that.
So the storm drains will not keep every square foot of this town dry in high rain
Oh,
events.
well, no,
It
I
takes
know
a
that,
certain-
but I don't think it should come into our homes.
Well, no, so, you know, it takes a little while for them. The whole point of the storm drain is not to have standing water for any prolonged period of time. Okay, now, some homes, you know, depending on where you're at, just like anything else, I mean, the storm drain, when there's plenty of water in it, in these high rain events, it can become pressurized, because what's up high, coming off the courthouse square in downtown, anything lower, which your neighborhood's lower elevation than this, you know, when those storm drains are completely full, you've still got, you know, the water's higher up here, and it's trying to find any way it can. Eventually, it's gonna follow the storm drain out to the various streams. But in the meantime, during these high rain events, it's gonna find any side route it can. That's why you need check valves, you know, if your basements or things like that are hooked into the storm drain. And then the check valve, the owner has to be sure that they're maintained and working. It's like anything else. You can use, you know, sump pumps or another thing, but then if the electricity goes out, which it frequently does in these high storm things, then you're without, you've got problems. So the storm drains aren't going to do everything.
My same as James, is that the storm drain's up here, the sewer's down here. So it's not a matter of the storm drain water getting to our basements, it's that it intrudes into the sewer system and then backs up into our basements. Because water doesn't run uphill, that's for certain, but the storm drains, like I said, there's a 10-inch storm drain in front of my house this big around, that's this far below the surface. I mean, the drain part is like, I can see it, because I run down Jackson Street. That's being overwhelmed and then going into the sewer system. Correct?
On yours, I don't believe
I
hers.
don't know if it hurt or not, but I'm saying, that's where the problem is, the storm drain,
She's tied directly into our storm drain,
I was gonna say, I
not,
don't think that's.
not sanitary.
that deep,
Huh?
that deep, hers?
Yeah, it's kind of deep for a storm drain in that area, but with her full basement and the depth of ours, she's probably coming into the side of it.
Well, I know for a fact that when they dug that basement, the sewer line in my basement, which is below the grade of the floor, runs into the side of the sewer. Doesn't drop into the top.
That's probably what her
And
storm.
that's part of my problem.
That's probably what her storm does, being the depth of ours. And just by looking, I'm not shot grade or nothing like that. But she also, I believe a year ago it happened over there too, at the same circumstance. It rained for 2 or 3 days and then we got like a 3 or 4 inch rain. Well, the storms were already running, and then you throw 3 or 4 inches of rain in a short time in it. It can't take it. It can't take it. I mean, the storms are old.
Even with a check valve?
She hasn't checked valve yet, malfunctioned.
Okay.
So what? It's probably, I don't know how long it's been in there. So it probably got open. It's probably rusted or something. And instead of when the water, when she lets the water drain out, it opens and then it should flap down. And then as the water comes from our way in, it should push against it and seal it. Obviously, hers didn't work. So whether it's just old and power malfunction or what it is, but it obviously didn't operate, because if she does, it would never got in her house. So, same thing on the sump pump. You got a check valve on it, so when you pump it up, water will come, because you don't get all of it out. So it'll come. If you don't have a check valve, it's just going to come back out the pump. So if she's still got water, and Ronnie says you have a check valve, your check valve's bad.
Well, he said he's going to be coming by the next day or two and check
Yeah.
to make sure.
But it's on a list where we keep an eye on it. But I've got a lot of storm drains that get rain like that. They're almost out the top and stand in water, and we had a lot of standing water. I was coming home from Bloomington that night with my son, and we drove through a bunch of water. It rained on us all the way there and back.
So the town doesn't have insurance that covers situations like this?
No.
When a service to the town doesn't function and destroys property, then you're just out of luck. Is that,
Let me testify.
so, So the town assumes no liability for things that don't work, that they provide the service.
Well,
Is
we're
that
not,
correct?
yes, short answer is, but we're also not certain if the check valve is working, so. But, no, the answer is no, we do not.
Well, that's a fair statement about, we're not responsible. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I'd like to hear an attorney's opinion on this. I mean, I think we have some responsibility at some point. I don't know where that point is.
I'll be happy to hear that, that happens, because the years I came when Chad Gordon was running the show, with tens of thousands of dollars I've laid out.
But for example, I know we've had electrical issues.
I've had zero
where
liability.
Things have blown up because of something, I can't recall specifically. Have we had a situation with electrical in the past?
Oh, and we did pay a little bit for Sadusky down there.
Yeah.
But,
But, I mean, that too, I mean, that's an act of God. How do you?
well, I don't know. This is beyond my knowledge, but,
So does your attorney ever come to the meeting?
well, usually, yes.
Oh, I'm just curious
yeah.
because every time I've been here, he's not here.
But yeah, we need to really have him explain it to us as a board, where we stand on this. So, good to see you
Do
again.
you want to give me your number, and I'll give you a call once I talk to Nick again?
765-592-3492.
I'll try to talk to him tomorrow.
And if I don't answer because I don't recognize the number, just leave a message and then I
Okay.
know it's you.
Yeah, I will do that. Or I can even text you and tell you I'm about to call.
There you go, there you go.
He was not here. Did everybody get his report, and are there any questions? Bill?
Okay, I had 34 case reports, 5 felonies, 10 misdemeanors, 2 operating while intoxicated, 1 drug investigation, 10 property crimes, 4 mental health issues, assisted other agencies 8 times, 3 impounds, 11 infractions, 55 warnings, 21 ordinance violations, 7 motor vehicle accidents, 3 uses of force, 5 VIN checks, and 6 alarms in April. Any questions about the police?
Sounds busy.
It was. I sent you guys an email about Voorhees Street. As far as one of the residents there complaining about the parking there at the bend. And if you guys were interested in doing anything with that or to...
Whether the modification of the road, I don't know what we could do.
One way, make it a one way.
I don't think one way is a solution, just my opinion. I mean, I'm just one of 4 here today.
So, talking about keeping the 10-foot lane open, is it 10 foot each way? I mean, it seems like you need to, if it's a two-way street, you need to keep a lane wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass.
The way the ordinance reads, it's 15, or it's 10 feet. It doesn't say 10 feet each way, it just says 10 feet. And there's 15 feet there
Total?
total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a wide street. When I use the street, sometimes I have to slow down a minute and let somebody pass. That's just part of life. It's the way I look at it. We can't, it's an awkward corner.
It is.
Why they have a dog leg in there, I don't know. It's an awkward corner. And depending on who's living there and what they drive, it becomes an issue or not an issue. But one way is, I think that really feeds on the majority of people on the street. Go over and take a poll, but I'm guessing the one way would not be the outcome.
It just seems like, I'm trying to look at the ordinance. You need to keep a passing lane if you're parking and you're taking up 6 to 8 feet of minimum. I mean,
I drove
you're
by.
taking up 8 to 10 feet, you only have 5 feet left. You can't
Well, they're off the
You've
road.
got to be able to
Yeah,
keep it.
they're not in the roadway, they
They're
are,
not.
They're off the road.
I've driven by.
It's just a narrow road.
That, and I think the thing too is it's the vehicles. It's a
Yeah.
Bay's van,
They're
or
large.
utility van, and then you occasionally have a gas truck sitting there because the guy's neighbor's gas tank. So you potentially have two rather large vehicles. To me, I've been through there, it's more of a sight than width to me, you know, if you use guard out there.
Depending on what you eat.
Yeah.
A truck and a small car, it's okay, 2
Yeah,
trucks.
but I'd say that's the biggest problem I go through there, it's just that big van blocks the view from the other, so.
It's kind of like speed bump.
Hey, guess what now?
Gasoline. Yeah, they're not in the road. I mean, I've seen
No.
it. They do a pretty good job parking off the road considering what they're parking. They do a good job. Yeah.
And I also had somebody that was interested in buying our old flagpole. At their old RV.
Do we have to put that out? Yeah, how can we do that? Another Nick question.
Are they not for profit in any way, or they're
That's one
private?
of our reserves.
From,
One of our reserves.
I mean, if it's a not-for-profit, we don't have to go through that, but if it's any private individual, we have to do. I don't know if there's a
I
minimum
think there's a
value.
minimum value before you have to bid.
So property road inventory probably needs to be advertised to have a fair, if somebody else wanted to buy it, they would come back and say that they won't give a notice.
I'm
I'm
fine
fine
with
with just
this.
putting out advertising it, flagpole lease. We are liquidating it, and if somebody responds, fine, and if not, then they can
It's, I
combine it.
think it's in concrete, but whoever had the equipment that they could take it down, so.
If you're really need for it, I'm fine with expediting it rather than
Yeah.
take up next time, if that's agreeable.
Do you want me to ask Nick, and if that's his answer, tell Bill to move ahead, or do you want to wait for 2 weeks?
We'd do whatever it takes to expedite getting rid of the unused flagpole, and if, whatever Nick would advise on that.
Does it need to be in the paper, or can we advertise on
I don't know,
Facebook?
I just think that, I mean,
I'll
his
ask him.
recommendation of selling property of the town should be most important first.
Are you gonna advertise it as our responsibility to remove it?
Yes.
Yeah, the hostility. There's dirt net.
So you got Bill?
That's all right.
Ready for you, Bill?
Alright, so we had 18 locates, 16 work orders. The fire hydrant I was talking about by Barry's farm to table, we dug that up and was unable to repair it, so we did have to replace it with a new one. So I believe we'll probably be looking to buy another new one to have set in there and everything. I believe they're at $4,500, $5,000. So we'll probably be looking into getting the correct price for you guys, but we'll definitely have one on site just in case something happens in the middle of the night that we need one. We've got one there, so we'll be looking into purchase of fire hydrant. And so then one of the pool pumps was installed for the baby pool, but the one for inside the pump house, we could not get it apart. So Spears come and got it and everything, and they've got it put back together and delivered it. And Nick knows all about it, and I'm sure he'll share it with you guys. So that should be delivered Wednesday, and we got a few days and then start filling the pool. We'll have to go over there and touch it, and we should start filling the pool and everything. So, and electric, they fixed 4 street lights. There was a burnt wire across from Peterson's Body Shop. New service on Jefferson Street. We're going to have 2 new poles on Catlin Road and a new pole on Eastwood Drive. J&M testing was in last week, which comes in and tests our trucks to make sure they're safe to be in and everything. Everything passed except for 1 blanket that you cover the wires in when you're doing hot work, and 1 cutout cover. There's only 2 things, small things that failed. Everything was passed. So we're in good shape there. And then this week here, Thursday morning at 5 a.m. we will be sweeping the square. So anybody around the square, if you could park somewhere else Thursday morning, we'll be in at 5:30, or 5, I'm sorry, to sweep the square, mainly on the highway there, by the Ritz and all that, it's hard to get. So the water line, I sent you guys emails south of town, we did finally locate it, after talking to a couple of guys that's lived out there and their fathers was involved with it. We finally was able to get it located, but UMAC was there to make the tap, which we thought we had the right line, it wasn't. So they did help us locate it with their big vac, so there will be a bill come in, not sure exactly what that's gonna be, but I'm not sure how long they're taking us with our small vac to finally find it, but it is marked, they have a wire in it, we have a piece of metal over it, so if we ever have to metal detect it and measurements, there'll be a lot easier to find down the road, so that's all done. The only thing else I have is, I sent you guys out to a purchase of some electric supplies, $7,054.32. Just day-to-day supplies that you guys need for operations.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll second.
Buy, material, there's plenty of materials, they only use 7%, so there's plenty of materials.
All in favor?
Thank you. That's all I got. If you want to let Mike talk about the pumps.
What kind of a thank you for all the town guys, everybody that did the, trash pickup?
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys had a
yeah.
lot of stuff.
Oh, they were busy from start to finish. We were actually thinking about, we may gonna have to close it down early. It was just, they just kept coming and coming. So, yeah, it was a heck of a day. But yeah, they worked hard all day. And everything.
You had 4 more officers for
We had 4. We'll probably do 4 this fall because it's usually slower. And in the spring, I'll probably go ahead and get the 5th one just because I mean we're about to run out of space and we could have used the 5th one. So I may bump it up.
What kind of pole got hit when the Model T?
It's just a wooden utility pole with a street light over the dog park. They wanted that light over the dog park. So it's got a little damage on it and it moved it. It's a brand new pole. It's not. There's nothing to replace or fix.
Okay.
So we're good there. Well, I was there Sunday when I got the call. I thought it was a light pole in the park. So they never moved it. That car doesn't have a good record for utility poles. So, but I believe that's all I got. Like I said, I'll let Mike discuss the pumps.
Yep. Good
You
news.
got anything, you can go first, you got anything?
I got a quote there from $4 to replace the firefighter ranges. That's an every other year deal. We did it 2 years ago, and they're needing that, so. What was it, $5,240?
Yep.
You said 5240?
Yeah.
And who's that from?
Ford Hall.
Forward Hall?
Ford Hall.
Thank you.
Do you want to give that to them?
Yeah. You can have it.
I don't know anybody else that does firefighter brushes besides Ford Hall.
Yeah.
So, what was the total?
5,240.
They're the ones that originally installed them when the firefighters were built, so.
Wait for Steve to do a siphon.
Well, I mean, we've got enough,
I think we're good.
we got 70, yeah, we've only used 25% of the total fund, so it's in there somewhere, but just looking. I'll have my second quote Wednesday for the HVAC that we talked about a while back.
Good. Now the group's here, what? For the, what are they doing now? Focus group.
Materials and supplies. Here sometime this month for that UV, so.
Yeah, ED.
Materials and supplies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are down 2 high service motors and a well motor. Tim from Peerless had called me last week. High service 2 and well number 6 have taken a service, so they are completely done. They'll have to be new motors. Those went down when we had the storm where the tree fell across the power out here by the old Dormire. Recommendation, of course, I don't have any quotes as to how much it's going to be yet, but 4, the top plate on it broke and it went out the side. That was the same issue that went out before the last time, but it's been in operation for about 15 months. They're willing to work with you guys on that and split the cost difference.
So you have 2 high service pumps, 4 and 2,
Yes.
and what was 6? It's just.
Well moved. But I don't know, I don't have any quotes on that yet. I was hoping to have them for tonight, but, they are planning on bringing those 2 bad ones back this week to drop off in case the insurance would want to take a look at them. And also they're going to drop off a main lift. I got an air leader motor that's down, so they're going to pull it. Probably replacing it with a brand new capacitor that it's on the new tank side. It'll be cheaper to go that route instead of rebuilding, trying to get it all balanced out.
Well, I like water.
It's good to bathe with, anyway.
It comes in handy in the morning.
I know.
You looked at the account, what we got?
Yeah, I mean, the appropriations we spent half the year's funds already. And we're only, a third of the way through it. And there is money left, $500,000 in reserves in the bank, so I mean, we could, we gotta have water, but it's not a strong fund in terms of, it's kind of a barely make it fund, so we gotta have water, but we don't have a lot of margin. We're ahead.
Nothing else will go wrong this year.
Well, so how do you want to proceed? We don't have quotes, but.
Trying to spend a lot of money, so.
Well, you think I'll quote for the next meeting, maybe also have an factor in insurance.
I'll make sure I reach back out to you, make sure
You can just soften us up a little bit, giving us a heads up,
Yes.
saying, I'm coming back with a big bill.
Pretty solid.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. Anything else?
No.
Alrighty.
I just saw my claims for this meeting, the total is $254,320.60. Pretty much the general, items per 2 weeks. I did want to make a notation of the $4,200 from each of the utilities for the software maintenance. That is for our Keystone, and that year runs July to July. So in the event when they haven't given me a date for sure, but it'll probably be the first of the year. So if we are able to get our software in January, that's going to be prorated. They'll probably take it off of the money that we'll owe for the first of the year. So we'll basically be paying $6,000 instead of $12,000 essentially, if we can get started in January, because that key license runs until next July, and we won't need it that long. So that's the only really notation that I wanted to speak of.
I'll move.
Did you have questions, Steve?
No. I'll second.
All in favor?
Brandy, when you're talking to Keystone and on the new software upgrade, I'm thinking of, if they could do, like the appropriations reports, or not our accounts payable report, if they would sort and order those by the appropriations, so, we get them kind of scattered around where, like, if we have wastewater, materials and supplies, that when we're actually looking at all that, it's in there. I mean, I think they could, because they got the appropriation numbers, so the minimum they could sort by that, and that would automatically cluster them.
Okay.
They may be able to do it with the software we've got now, but it'd sure be nice to,
Are you
as they're looking
saying,
at
just so I understand you right, for instance, that $4,200 out of each utility is not going to come up on the same page together? So are you
That's fine.
saying, like, you'd like to see that all together, so there's 4,000 in water, 4,000, you know what I mean? Is that what you're wanting, or am I?
No, I'm going to try to get each individual utility, like where you divide something, I don't mind that it's coming out of water and coming out.
Okay.
It's just that anything that's a material and supply, is coming out of that, and anything that's wages is coming out of wages. So when we go down through there and look at it, it's like, okay, here's all the wages, and here's the other things. The other thing, that if they could link it to the actual appropriations report, where, you know, underneath, well, same thing, you could be looking at your water, you could be looking at, you know, water, materials, and supplies, and anything that month that we spent is underneath there, where we can quickly see, yeah, we got plenty of money in that account, or we're already overdrawn, we need to be doing an addition, you know, a transfer of funds, but to where we can actually correlate what we're approving to what we've appropriated the money for.
Well, I'm thinking you're wanting maybe the account history detail.
That might be the easiest way to do it, but just something where it's all together rather than just, you know, for years we just look at individual line items. It's hard to get a handle on, you know, we're going to have 2 new council members and we're going to lose a lot of financial wisdom. And so having it to where it's really clear for everybody else, I think it's going to be those tools are going to be pretty important.
I mean,
so if you could talk with them and see what we could do.
Okay, yeah, I don't know about printing your actual, like the claim report and making that particular report look any different, but the history, history report.
Ideally, if they could merge the
lengthy,
claims report
yeah.
underneath the appropriations report, that would be wonderful. But if they could at least do the claims report where it's ordered by the appropriation within each division, water, sewer, electric, general fund, park, that would be a step up, I think, for everybody understanding where we're spending money and how.
I can ask, I don't know if those two work together like that, but, I mean,
there's so many other things mixing and merging with databases, it seems like it would be.
Well, it'd be nice to have an income statement for each utility. That'd be nice, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just a programming thing. I mean, this software is pretty dated, I'm guessing.
this one's pretty old. I would say the new program will probably do about anything you ask it to, but.
But that would be
usually we need to tell them in advance before they sit, or sometimes that makes a difference.
Or budget versus actual, that's something that I use a lot.
Tell ChatGPT what you want.
Yeah, if you get a budget versus actual report for the month, it has your and then for your year, that'd be very handy. Something like that. So see if they have a budget versus actual report.
Right now.
Old business.
So I saw you sent out the refund calculation.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions on that, but I sent that breakdown. I mean, it's pretty detailed unless anybody has any questions on my numbers.
Well, I guess my question is how do we do it, or how does the customer want it done?
By check, and according to Nick's reply either way, I just wanted to check on going back. You know, usually there's a time frame, so that's what I wanted him to check on, but according to what I read that he sent back, it didn't seem like he had an issue with it, so it could either be done as a credit or a check, so probably with that.
Do we need to set a policy moving forward if we're going to have others? Or, I mean, what he said if it's a big refund, it's possible to do it that way.
Define big.
That was what he
Well,
said.
that's the thing. I mean, if you owe somebody $40,
$40
do
versus
you
$1,000.
start doing that, or do you just start crediting? So.
Usually it's not clear as to what constitutes a big adjustment.
Typical attorney. You know he's not here, he's so complicated. Well, we can't bill somebody for utility that that wasn't there, so I mean, that's a whole issue here, so. Now, I guess we can vote.
Yeah, I've got a total of $962.52. I would just like a vote documented so that I've got the authority to make that refund. I mean, I know you guys talked about it in your meeting, and I don't think there were any issues there, but just maybe.
I move we refund. It's a customer's discretion whether it's lump sum or for credit.
No
I
second.
think,
All in favor?
Aye.
I think the, it'd be good for the future if Nick would define what's large, and we can decide.
Yeah, it needs something based on, I don't know.
I think moving forward, if we have anyone, then it's probably a good idea for him to either maybe come up with a suggestion of what that dollar amount should look like.
I would guess we could probably sort them out.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, but let's have something and just grab it out of the air. Some logic to it. The logic is good.
But that's the only, that's the only one that I have according to notes from that meeting as well. And then we have the other resident that Doug, have you reviewed the other one outside of town on any of their questions or anything that they had? I think that was when I sent the paper. We turned it in the same right before the meeting.
Oh,
So.
Fusion.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's in there for you to review. It's all in
So
there.
we'll give it.
Okay, so that's the only.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Those are the only two that I have in the file so far.
On to new business. You don't have that ordinance yet.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't know if Nick was informed.
And I,
Yes.
somehow I don't remember Luke saying he would
Okay.
make a phone.
Okay.
So probably-
I just want to make sure we have that if their park board is considering the pool increases for their daily entry and passes. So that I just need Nick to be sure that we get an ordinance prepared and voted on by the council prior to the.
Is it gonna have to be advertised?
Well, that's what I wanted, that was one of the questions I needed to ask, and this just came about to me that I was told that those were possibly gonna increase. I don't know if it could just be something that was voted on, it's not a utility increase, so I'm
Right.
wondering if the,
Same as
public hearing
same.
isn't necessary,
Yeah.
but, I just want to move on that for you, so we can have that for the next meeting.
Mhm.
We'll be opening, I'm assuming it's still gonna open the Monday of Memorial.
Yes.
So I know he's got a few ordinances and stuff he's had on his list already, but
Mhm.
I'll make sure to add that one for the next meeting so we can get that
Yeah.
voted on.
And then the police commission has a recommendation, her name is Corrine Moeller. And she has an application, I forgot to print it off, if anybody's got questions. She did fill one out, and she has pulled the Democrat ballot in all of the recent elections. One of the other candidates that was suggested has actually pulled a Republican ballot for the last two primaries, which is what we go by as far as ruling, so that is the recommendation of the police commission.
All right.
Her background is in education, and she is, at this time, she's got a young one and is teaching online.
Okay. Any motion?
Yes, please.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Do you by chance have the correct spelling of her name?
I
Okay. I just, if I'm gonna put it in the
Yeah.
notes, then I wanna.
C-O-R-R-I-N.
That Can it be in contingents with her passing the background check?
Yes, sorry. It is required to do a background check, so we'll do that, and barring any issues, I'll let them know.
Moeller?
M-O-E-L-L-E-R.
I've got two new business items, when it's convenient.
Okay. Okay.
So last
Sorry, it's 102.
Last Monday, I attended the AIM webinar on the MUS meetings related to the local income tax. Did anybody else attend those? Anybody? So, part of the legislation, and I'm not an expert on all the legislation, but essentially, the counties have the option and encouraged to have these municipal unit strategic task force where they give comment and review, the financial details of all these changes with the decrease of property tax and potential increase in income tax in making future decisions about the tax rates. The counties have to set that up individually. They're not going to apply to what they're doing for, apparently, if I've understood things right, for next year, because that's already in the works. This is going to be at least another year out in terms of any impact in tax changes. But they need to have them prior to October 1. They need to have a report for each county on these municipal task force. So the first question gets to be, is Park County going to have one? And if they're going to do it, we need to request from AIM, unless somebody else wants to do it, and given how complex it could be, to review all the data of our expenditures and, potential shortfalls from the changes of property tax to potential shortfalls or improvements in funding with various local income tax strategies. Some municipalities could see where even with maximum increase in local income tax, they may not be fully funded. And so you're a lot of services, we've got a lot of services, police, fire, essential things that need funded. So, it's something I don't know where we stand on. I don't know. My assumption is, there's a plan for the current taxing year. But Park, are you aware? I know you talked some with the county council.
Council members, yeah. I haven't got numbers, but I never sent you an email for you haven't got it yet. Yeah, we should probably talk to some county council and see what they plan for next year.
It involves all. These meetings need to involve all the municipalities. It's not just us meeting with the council. It's all incorporated: Montezuma, Rosedale, Bloomingdale, Marshall. So I think that's it. I don't think Mecca's incorporated, or are they?
Yeah,
they are.
Yes.
They are still. Then, they need to be part of it. We all need to have the opportunity to participate, but it's something, I guess my concern with this would be across the state, AIM is going to be busy, and so we need to be requesting, but AIM's not going to do these unless there's a meeting planned. So, we need to know about that. So, I don't know, Park, if you want to contact, if you want.
Yeah, I'll reach out and see when I get started. It sounds like we'll have another meeting.
There's various curious things about it. If you're a municipality of 3,500 and above,
you can do your own.
You have the option to do your own. If you're less than that, then you can't make any decision. It has to be done in concert with the whole county. So that was that's kind of a peculiarity of it potentially. But the main thing was we need to get on it. But with AIM, we can't get on with AIM unless we're doing something as a county. The other item, we had the workshop last week. Of course, we don't take any action in workshops, we just listen and all. But one of the things that was brought up was the issue about there's a lot of compliance issues, and unless we want to spend all of our police time enforcing compliance and all of our lawyer time on compliance issues, municipalities have to have their own compliance officer. And there was some of the BCA people expressed that there was interest with some of the other municipalities in the county that maybe jointly sharing a compliance officer. So it kind of gets to be, are we interested? We could go have discussions, but if we have no interest, don't think we have to make any kind of commitment, but do we have interest in trying to work out some sort of shared person? My assumption would be one municipality would probably have to hire them, and there would have to be some sort of contractual agreement of time or services division with all the municipalities. I wouldn't think that that person would want to be hired by 5 different or 3 different
No,
employers.
and the county had thought it could be done sort of as needed, but that's not feasible. I don't think. The county desperately needs an enforcement or compliance officer, and I think it would be good for us as well. And I know Montezuma and Marshall were interested. I'm not sure about Bloomingdale, but I know those other 2 were.
Do you have any knowledge of services or how we, have we developed sort of this broad thing that, basically we've got to know if this is a $40,000 a year job, an $80,000 a year job, $120,000. I don't know what the costs would be. I don't know, how we're going to divide this. There's a lot of work if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah. It can probably be more of what you want it to be. Obviously, for the county, they really need a building inspector that knows how to completely check systems. And I'm guessing that would probably be more pricey than somebody who just goes out and does a perfunctory walkthrough. But I've talked to Beth Martin in Planning and Zoning, and she has gotten some names, so I can get with her and kind of come up with a general idea of what we're looking for, and what you want it to cover.
I think it's a matter, if we're not interested, it's a fool's errand. So
I've been interested
for years. Several. What do you guys think?
I think we need it.
Well, the need's there, but there's funding there. What do you come up with funding? If it's $20,000 for the town, that's one thing. If it's going to be $50,000 for the town to cover, that's so yeah, it's the needs there. We all know that, but it's just how do you put the cost? I would think the bulk of it, the county's involved. They have more building any ones. Yeah, it'd be interesting to have a little more information. What's the average? What type of person? What kind of credentials do they have? Or should have? And what the cost would be for that person?
Is it reasonable if we approach the other towns to say we are interested? The cost obviously is the key thing, because of what's the total cost, and we have to figure out.
Well, most of the smaller towns, I just know looking at some of their budgets in Mecca, Bloomingdale, Marshall, they're, I don't know how in the world they can find much of anything to throw towards Mecca.
I don't either, but I don't feel it's my place to make their decision.
Right, it's not. They may have an idea that we are.
The state legislature's happy to make decisions for all municipalities. I'm personally not.
We don't want to do that, do we?
It's our own individual prerogative. That's why you get your own report for town council to make those decisions. Good luck.
Well, so you're going to look into it a little bit further?
I can do that, yeah.
I wonder if I had a county, around this here. I'm sure Carroll.
Vigo County definitely. You'd be amazed at the number of times when people say this is something your enforcement officer would handle. No one of that.
We would need a building inspector, but also,
Yeah,
I would think you would want somebody periodically just to go through, the various code concerns that people report, to address those with the individuals when they're brought up prior to having to take legal action. That's my thought. I'm not working with one. Is that true? What guys' vision of this thing, or what?
Yeah. Yeah, Steve.
We might do more too.
I just want to mention, IFA's had a meeting noon Wednesday. Everybody make that, and I'm going to get word Wednesday night at 5:30 is a regional sewer district meeting. We alternate every month. It's in Marshall. Bloomingdale. It's in Bloomingdale. We can write this stuff down. Bloomingdale this month, 5:30.
Where do they meet?
Well, they meet in the community there, in Firehouse in Marshall.
I wanted to bring up something. It's been mentioned to me several times, but, and I've thought about it, and I actually talked to a customer today, but, and a lot of towns do this, but on the customer deposits. I would like to ask your thoughts, in refunding some of those customer deposits. Towns set their, ordinance, if you will, or regulations, various different ways. I mean, you know, some of them are as little as, like, if a customer's been here a year, they're in good standing, they pay their bill, they can get their deposit back. Some may be 5 years, 10 years, it's whatever you want it to be, but I would like for you to start considering that. I mean, I was just looking at somebody's today, their deposit from 1990, they've got a $50 electric deposit and a $10 water deposit. Those have been on the books since 1990. Some of them are very, you know, there's actually customers as old as having $3 water deposits. I just feel like that money's sitting there, you know, you've got customers that maybe just been a customer for 10 years, but you've still got $150 for what the meter deposits were at that time. But I'm just curious on your thoughts of that I do have a lot of people in a lot of towns do refund deposits for those that the deposits were set up and initially for someone that didn't pay their bill or they leave town. The deposits even at $225 the way they are now, they don't cover a monthly bill for most people in this town even if you leave. So that's why we've got still a large balance of people that have left that we try to take small claims. So of course there will be stipulations, you know, and I'd like for Nick to have his input, and I could, you know, be more than happy to get input from other towns and what their ordinances look like. But I think that's something that the town needs to look at to give back to those customers that do pay their bill on time. Unfortunately, we have way more. I think Park, we mentioned this in a meeting a couple of times ago, but the number of NSF returns that we have is astronomical. I don't know what you do to stop that other than maybe looking at the next time we do an ordinance, increasing that NSF fee. I mean, it's $40, but people don't bat an eye to write a bad check still at $40. We're spending a lot of time and work, paperwork, mailings to notify the people according to what the ordinance says that we should do. So I just feel justifiable, those customers that have been good paying customers for many years.
A lot of people want to
Well, yeah. Yeah, I guess applied to their final bill. I mean, of course the people, you know, that move, the renters, you know, probably 85% of the renters in this town that wouldn't apply to anybody. But you've got a lot of homeowners that have been here for a long time that always pay their bill, and I just think that we should probably look at giving them their deposits back. So.
Well, can you give some examples of what other towns are doing?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys weren't opposed to it for any reason before I looked into it too far and asked Nick to kind of get on board with this. So it was just a suggestion. But I've all the customers that they've been here for 20, 30, even longer. Every once in a while, hey, what's my deposit? $10, but yes, we still have it. But I kind of clean up your deposit accounts too. So if nobody's opposed to it, I would like to move forward in getting some information on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have any business?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, I see one stranger in the audience.
Yeah,
I'm curious what he's here for.
Water meters on the faucets outside. I've got a pool. I fill it during the summer. I've got a slight leak in it. And I've asked for years, coming in and paying my bill, about whether we can get meters on the outside faucets so I don't pay a sewer bill.
I just told him last week that that we don't have the ordinance. Nick, the attorney, Nick Sutter,
And I saw he wasn't either.
in attendance, but I was hoping that he would have, because I know I told you as well that, you know, I thought maybe tonight we'd actually have that ordinance. The council did, however, vote in the last meeting to pursue that and for him to prepare one so that we don't have it, but I don't know what those regulations are gonna look like.
I guess it's in the works to address your issue.
I'm hopeful, because I pay an awful lot for my sewer bill, and none of it goes into the sewer during the summer.
Yes.
My wife and I living in the house, and we have minimum bills to do most of the year, and pool comes up, and outside watering here or there, a lot of it goes out in that pool, and none of it goes down in the sewer. And I will check again in a couple
Do
weeks.
you always do the one-time adjustment for filling it?
Yes, but still
It's
evaporation
still in
and
excess.
leakage, I have to fill up during, keep topping it off all summer long.
Okay. Well, if we want that next meeting,
I'll check in the next meeting.
Thank you.
you got something, Kevin?
And no, just like comments and input. I know that the police board over the last year or two have talked about code enforcement officer, what would be the plus and minus of that, and combined with the building inspector, is you talked about the funding of the building inspector, which it wouldn't cover. But, maybe doing a review of what you charge for building permit. I put an 800 square foot addition on my house. I pay $25. You know what got inspected for that? The foundation, the trusses. Nothing's going to kill me in my sleep. Electrical, gas, and like that. So if you have a qualified inspector, then you maybe adjust those fees.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to pay $400 for a building permit.
I shared that with that particular individual that had skills across the county and in towns. And he got a point, if the fees were more appropriate for the level of inspection, it would certainly help offset some of the costs. I don't know how many.
Same as building permits for the county, they're $50, and people are building $1 million homes and nobody's checking the electric or the plumbing, or, well, I check.
Hope they get a good
septic.
contract.
Yeah, nobody's checking electricity or.
Well, that's a good point. If you had the skills to justify the fee, it makes sense.
And then it gets your officers often pissing somebody off over the grass clippings. It's kind of like a PR thing too. And you've got to have somebody who's got to have some backbone with it. But you kind of kill two birds with one rock.
Or stone.
I will say, when I built homes for 7 years, different counties had building inspectors, and I'll tell you, we had a finger system open up. We had to leave open for a week, and the inspector come in the garage, talked to us for a few minutes. We told him where it was. He says, "I'm sure you did a good job," and he left. A lot of them didn't even look at what they come to look at. So, it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong. We need something in town because people are building in our right-of-ways, which is going to be trouble one these days. But I guess, you got to make sure he's qualified. He's going to do his job. A lot of inspectors never looked at anything on our job site.
And conversely, like I put new windows in my house in Florida, they red tagged me 12 times because there were 3 3/4 inch screws instead of 3 7/8 screws. And so you go too far the other way. People don't mind you doing the inspection. When I did College Street, and I had John Montgomery, the painter guy, was he your building inspector one time?
Could have been.
Been a while, huh? Been a long time ago. I don't mind writing a check.
Yeah,
What do
it
you
was
say?
a while, I think that's right.
Carl Cooper and Joe Hartman did all the work, and so you've got somebody, a house painter, going to inspect their work. So at that point, you're just collecting money. Just give people, charge them for a service, but you'll then do the right service that's out in your interest.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
You didn't touch on it, but the depot did get new roof and also the restroom, so if you're down that way, check it out.
Yeah.
There's not a big difference in the color from what was on the depot versus what is now, but it definitely needed replaced. When
Looks
they
nice.
tore,
It looks nice.
when they tore into it, there was a lot of broken boards and it was in bad shape. So hopefully we're good for several years. So, but they also did the restrooms.
Yeah, I had to do the restroom, and I think that sign back there was supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Everything. But yeah, it does look good driving by. Nice job.
And good luck to the candidates tomorrow.
Yeah,
This is what you're getting yourself into?
Good dessert.
All in favor?
Yeah, I'll get you that way. Yeah, I'll get them over the way. We can talk about it sometime. Yeah. We can talk more. Well.
Sometimes you get
I'll think about it until the next day, Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Plan on it. See how things go.
Trying to get you out of it.
Does that make sense, more or less?
I think, Tony, you're wanting to see that I paid a roofing company $4,000, but you're out of water, let's just say, but you're wanting to see everything else that's paid out of water, you're wanting it grouped by appropriation instead of,
Yeah.
I don't know if
If we could just do it by appropriation, you know, here you'll get some, you'll get general, you'll get pool, you'll get various things.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like if it's out of appropriations, if we code on that number, you know, we get, regardless of when in the cycle they were paid, you get all your payroll clustered up at the top, and then you get your expenses, and they'd be clustered together, so that we would have a sense of, man, we're spending a lot on materials this month. Frequently it's justified. I mean, you know, you have that stuff. It's uncommon that there's anything that's not, but it would make it I think, a more effective way instead of
having water, something paid on water on page 1 and page 6.
Yeah, you'd have all water together.
See it all together. Okay,
Because
I can ask them. I
yeah.
don't know if that's just a click of a button.
I would think, no, because sometimes you get, you know, on the back page, you get some that are start with a 2, and some that are 6, and some that are 8.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone this way for years, we've done years, and it's like, why do we keep doing that? My guess is this is how the reports are generated, so
right, but if there may be
let's change the button, and if
there may be something that we can change to make
we
it a
can't
little bit more
change it
focused.
now,
Yeah.
let's design it for the future.
Yeah.
And then the other thing would be on the appropriation, you know, if you're a sub-board, a park, a storm board, really, we probably should see, since we are the board for the different actual municipal utilities, but if you'd have the appropriations report, I mean, we have the summary page, but we probably, not for the, I don't know if you can get it, not for the whole year, but just for the month. So like when we're looking at the accounts payable for the past 2 weeks, we see this accounts payable register, but maybe we also have the register where it's the itemized appropriation report just for the past 2 weeks. So you can say, okay,
Well, I mean, I can pick dates on that. Usually it's done for the month, whatever's current, but I think I can specify, I might be able to bring it from and to date. I'll have to look at it, and if I can't figure it out, I'll ask them, but.
the other thing that on the appropriations report, you know, at the end of the year, we put in for the appropriation so much for the stormwater bond payment. And there's nothing in there for stormwater bond payment. You've got a whole separate fund. I mean, there's money for the stormwater bond payments.
Yeah.
And plus, the money's in the bank, but it's not in the appropriation report. Is there, you know, again, it's one of the expenses of that utility.
If it's not in there, then I just missed placing it.
Yeah, I mean, those things happen, that's why, but I noticed that where, if you look at the appropriation.
I tried to, and I would have thought that Park did a pretty good job of putting that together.
Let's go back to the storm.
Oh.
Bond payments, we don't have anything appropriated for it. We've got materials, but we don't have anything in the bond payments.
Okay, then that's just that there wasn't anything on my sheet, and I just missed putting. Normally, I would put from Bank 4, it wouldn't be Bank 1, but Bank 4's funding.
Yeah. I mean, Park and I, you know, with us in there, but again, He is a new guy that's here, it's kind of going.
Well, yeah.
There's somebody, you know, I mean, so,
A little bit of an understanding curve
and
there.
then we're gonna, two new council members, and we're gonna lose Clark, and
Yeah.
so, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
yeah. I'll work on some things and
Okay.
see if we can kind of make it a little bit more understandable, a little easier.
Thank you.
I'll check it out. Okay, thanks. Have a good evening.
You understood on that, on the water business, I'm not, you know, it's trivial, but it's one of those optics things, you know, when somebody says, well, we're buying water, okay. You know, I don't mind buying a coffee, I don't mind doing all kinds of extra things,
I get it.
but because we're a water utility, it's like, we probably shouldn't be buying the water. Just,
Well, and that's one of those things. No, I get it.
you know,
But if
it's
you're
trivial and
gonna,
all, right, and there's a lot of little things, but it's the optics of it, it's not the reality of it.
if you
That's
don't
why I
want to
keep-
fund it somewhere, you gotta not fund it everywhere, and there's multiple other places, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
the water- yeah.
the big picture of it, you
So the
know?
water thing, and again, I mean, I'm not a big fan of plastic water everywhere. It's not to me apples and oranges between water in a cooler here, where you know, you could have a refrigerator with ice, you could have a refrigerator with cool water in a
Right.
vase
Yeah.
that you could easily get here. Whereas the guys that are out working on trucks, and they may be down Catlin Road, they may be out there, they may be over at Spunky Point, and, you know, they're a long way from where they could get
Right.
a clean water source.
Sure.
You know, them having bottled water is justifiable. Probably still more economical to have your cooler and
Well,
fill
that's
up
what my
with
dad,
water.
you know, I grew up, my dad packed his cooler every day
Why
for
not?
work, you know?
Well, and all
That's
the,
coffee that
and
was
all the
very
utility things
lunch,
on the
you know.
back of the utility truck, all of them had
Mhm.
most of them were galvanized metal, some of them got to be plastic.
you
They
see
go
those.
through it, that's,
Yeah.
and that's where they got their water, and you didn't have a zillion bottles and trash and all
Right,
that.
right.
And, you know, in my world, would that be better? Yeah, probably, but I can justify to somebody taking pot shots at us as a utility, you know, your water must not be good enough for you to have your guys, there, it's like, no, that's convenient, it's quick, it's sanitary, we don't have to worry about sterilizing coolers, charging them, all that. A little tougher sell here. So it's not apples and oranges on that.
Yeah.
And again, it's just one of those things. Do I care? No. But but we could get, you know, everybody gets nasty about the water and municipal water supplies. A lot of the bottled water is they bottle it out of municipal sources.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's kind of a
It
big,
is one of
it's a
those-
scam deal too. Some of it's legit, but
I
then you put in all the microplastics, and it's like, so where's the health benefit?
I appreciate the fact that stuff is looked at, because I honestly, I do feel like there's a lot of spending of things that shouldn't, I mean, I try to justify anything that's purchased, so, I do feel like there's a lot of things that could be cut out, and that may be what has to happen in the future too, with funding.
I mean, part of it is just, you know, we gotta go,
So,
we're spending faster than we planned. Why?
yeah,
I mean, it make, you know, I mean, but again, as a board, we have to be aware of that, and they need to be aware of that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All
No,
of us,
thank
including